In Part 5, we did a deep dive into high fructose corn syrup, how it overwhelms the liver, drives insulin resistance, and becomes even more damaging when combined with alcohol or seed oils. We also looked at how a simple meal, like soda, fries, and alcohol, can push your liver into full metabolic crisis. But now we're moving into another dangerous ingredient that many people don't think twice about. It doesn't taste sweet. It doesn't spike your blood sugar. It doesn't give you cravings. But what it does do is far more sinister. Today, we're talking about sodium nitrate, a chemical preservative hiding in some of the most popular foods in the world. If you've ever enjoyed bacon, hot dogs, sausages, deli meats, or pepperoni, you've almost certainly been exposed to it. And when sodium nitrate is heated, it transforms into compounds that have been linked to cancer, especially in animal studies. This is a topic that everyone needs to hear. So let's break it down. What sodium nitrate actually is. Sodium nitrate and its close cousin sodium nitrite are preservatives used to keep meats looking fresh, extend shelf life, maintain that bright pink or red color, prevent bacterial growth, add flavor, and improve texture. In other words, without sodium nitrate, your bacon wouldn't look the way bacon looks. Your hot dog wouldn't have that classic pink color. Your pepperoni wouldn't have that signature cured smell and taste. It's the chemical behind the appearance of freshness. But that's exactly the trick. The meat isn't fresh. It just looks fresh. Sodium nitrate is doing the heavy lifting. And while that might sound harmless, the real problem happens next. The hidden danger. What happens when nitrates are heated? Sodium nitrate itself isn't the worst part. The danger begins the moment you cook it. When meat containing sodium nitrate is exposed to high heat, like frying, grilling, roasting, or baking, it forms new chemicals called nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are not just harmful, they are consistently carcinogenic substances in food science. And nitrosamines are not just harmful. They are one of the most consistently carcinogenic substances in food science. Let that sink in. You start with sodium nitrate. You add heat. And the result is a compound that has been repeatedly linked to cancer in animal studies. How damaging are these nitrosamines? In controlled experiments, researchers have used them to induce cancer in laboratory animals. Tumors form in the stomach, colon, pancreas, liver, depending on the type of nitrosamine and the dose. That is how strong the cancer-causing potential is. And remember, you don't need to eat charred, burnt meat to create nitrosamines. Just cooking bacon in a pan, or grilling a hot dog, or baking sausage at high heat is enough to trigger the reaction. Millions of people eat these foods every week without realizing the chemical transformation happening on their stove. But if this is true, why is it still in our food? This is the question most people ask. If sodium nitrate and sodium nitrite can form carcinogenic nitrosamines, why are they still allowed? The answer is complicated, but here's the simple version. Sodium nitrate does prevent bacterial growth, especially the bacteria that cause botulism. And the food industry argues that this benefit outweighs the risks. But the reality is this. Food companies rely on nitrates because they make processed meat look better, taste better, and last longer, all of which increase sales. It's not because nitrates are the only way to preserve meat. It's because they're the most profitable. And even though health authorities acknowledge the cancer risk, most regulations focus on acceptable limits, which vary widely by country and often don't account for cooking temperatures, household habits, daily consumption, additive effects from multiple foods so nitrates remain in the food supply, not because they're safe, but because they're convenient and profitable. The real-life foods containing sodium nitrate. If you think sodium nitrate is rare, think again. It's everywhere. Common foods containing nitrates include bacon, hot dogs, sausages, salami, pepperoni, ham, deli meats, cured meats, corned beef, beef jerky, bologna. Think about the typical breakfast: bacon, sausage, ham. The average lunch sandwich: deli meat. The typical weekend meal: hot dogs at a cookout. For many people, sodium nitrate isn't an occasional exposure, it's a lifestyle. And because nitrates transform into nitrosamines when heated, these meals can become a steady stream of carcinogenic compounds. The science. What animal studies tell us? Let's talk about evidence. While long-term, randomized human trials are impossible to conduct, animal studies provide clear insights. In dozens of studies across different species, nitrosaminas have been shown to cause colon cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer, esophageal cancer. And the mechanism is the same. Sodium nitrate enters the body heat or stomach acid, converts it to nitrosaminas. Nitrosaminas damage DNA. Cancer risk increases over time. These findings have been consistent across decades of research. So when health organizations say the evidence in humans is observational, what they really mean is, we can't ethically expose humans to nitrosaminas to prove the damage, but every animal model we've ever tested shows carcinogenic effects. That is not something to take lightly. What makes sodium nitrate especially dangerous is that people don't feel the damage happening. There's no immediate symptom, no warning sign, no stomach ache, no allergic reaction, nothing that signals danger. But over time, cells mutate, DNA is damaged, inflammation increases, possible precancerous changes begin. This is slow, silent harm. And when you combine nitrates with other lifestyle factors, like alcohol, smoking, or seed oils, the risk increases even more. Alcohol breaks down into acetaldehyde, which enhances nitrosamine formation. Seed oils create oxidative stress that magnifies DNA damage. Refined carbs increase inflammation that fuels cancer growth. Junk food doesn't operate alone. It works in combinations. And this ingredient is a perfect example of that. So let's recap. Sodium nitrate is used in bacon, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats. When heated, it forms nitrosaminas, chemicals linked to cancer in animal studies. Nitrosaminas damage DNA and increase long-term cancer risk. Nitrates remain in the food supply because they help with appearance, taste, and preservation. Many common foods expose people to nitrates daily without them realizing it. This ingredient isn't about addiction or cravings. It's about long-term harm that builds silently over years. And now that you understand how sodium nitrate works, we can move to the next ingredient, one that affects millions of people daily and hides in almost every fried food: heated carbohydrates, the dangerous combination of starch, sugar, high heat, and toxic byproducts. Stay tuned for part 7, which will change how you look at fries, chips, toast, and anything cooked at high heat.